Okay, welcome back to model drawing. So today we are going to continue looking at how we draw out primary 3, primary 4 model drawing. But now the problems are more related to P4. So for primary 3 students, might be a little bit harder for you to tackle the problems. So we are coming to problems that are more related to primary 4 students. So one of the ways to solve problem is to learn how to break down the problem, and by breaking down the problem, it makes the solving easier. And how to break down the problem? Now you break down the problem by highlighting the keywords and the important numbers. Like for example, if you look at problem 1, Rachel had 90 50-cent coins. So I will highlight the names and the number of 50-cent coins. Then there's a fraction. Ivan had 3/5, and I will do arrow pointing. So why do I do arrow pointing? Because it helps me to draw the model later. And then how much money did Ivan have? So once you have highlighted everything already, highlighted the important words and numbers, then you are going to draw out the sentence. So if you look at the first sentence, and if you are not so sure how to draw the first sentence, then you go to the second sentence and you use that to draw. For example, if you see a fraction, almost every time you can draw out the fraction. So Ivan had 3 boxes. So you draw Ivan, and there are 3 boxes for Ivan, and Rachel had five boxes, right? So you draw your model according to what the question says. And Rachel had 90 50-cent coins. So you arrow sign, write 90 50-cent coins. And how much money did Ivan have? So be very careful when you put the question mark like this. That refers to how many, right? How many 50-cent coins does Ivan have? Because the model here represents the number of coins. Alright, so what I would like to do is, well, you can put a question mark if you want, but don't get confused. Make sure you know that you are asked for the total value, right? The value of his money. Okay, so once you have drawn the model already, then the next step is to use the model to try to solve. So the boxes are called units, right? So by now, everyone should know that when you break up the model into equal parts, you call them units. So I have 5 units is equal to 90. Then my 1 unit will be 90 divided by 5. That will give me 18. So how many 50-cent coins does Ivan have? Ivan has 3 units. So you take 18 times 3. That will give you 54. So which means that Ivan has 54 50-cent coins. But if you are not careful, like what I mentioned, you are going to put down 54 as the answer, which is the how many coins. But you're supposed to find how much. How much and how many, they are different. How many is the quantity of coins. How much is the value? So if there are 54 50-cent coins, then what must you do? Then you must take 54 times 50 cents, and that will give you how much? And Ivan has 2,700 cents or $27. So you can see the question is very simple, and the model is also easy to draw. But if you don't draw the model, usually for weaker students, those students who are weaker, or those of you who struggle to solve section C problem, you will find that without the model, it's a little hard to even come up with the steps, or you must take a long while to think about what is the first step. But when you draw the model will guide you, alright, how to write and what to write. Okay, so let's go on to another example, and then let's see how we draw the problem. Now, Betty has some sweets for sale. Alright, so we don't know how many sweets, so it's unknown. She sold 3/7 of the sweets. Now, when I look at this fraction and I want to draw the model, I always have to break up the fraction, so that you can know how many boxes to draw and how many boxes to label, right? Or how many boxes for what purpose, right? So the sweets have 7 boxes, and she sold 3 boxes of the sweets. And then there's a second fraction, and again I have to break out the fraction so that I know how to continue drawing the model. So the remainder has a total of 8. So denominator means what? What does the denominator mean? It means the total. Every time you see the word denominator, right, or you see the number at the bottom of the fraction, which is the denominator, that refers to the total. And she gave 5 boxes to her brother. Then she had 780 sweets left. So how many sweets did she have at first? So after you have highlighted all these important words and you have broken up the fractions, right, then we can start to draw the model more accurately. For example, you look at the first sentence. Do you know how to draw the first sentence? Well, if you are not sure how to draw, then you can jump. But if you know how to draw, then we can start with a rectangle, right? A whole rectangle, which is all the suites, right? So that's how you draw the first sentence. But if you are not sure, you can always skip, because there will always be something that you can draw, especially when you see a fraction. Now, the suites have altogether 7, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 boxes. And she sewed. So you label, sewed. And then what happened? So you have drawn until here. And then she gave 5/8 of the remainder. So where is the remainder? Now, the remainder will be what you call the leftover. Okay, the leftover, which is the blue color, right? The blue color boxes that you see. Okay, so let me just draw a bit nicely. So this is your remainder, and there are 4 boxes in the remainder. Alright, now if you look at the fraction, the remainder must have a total of 8, right? 8 boxes. So can I cut the remainder into 8 boxes? Yes, I can. 2, 4, 6, and 8. So to cut into smaller boxes, I would like to use dotted lines so that you can still see the original boxes, right? That you can still see the original 4 boxes if you draw dotted lines. And don't forget to do the same for the whole model, right? Whatever you do for some boxes, you have to do for the whole model as well. Alright, and then 5 boxes is given to the brother. And then where are the leftover? This will be the 780 suites left. Right, so you are not solving, you are actually drawing out the sentences. And how many suites did she have at first? So your question mark will be to find everything. And if you have put everything inside the model already, your labels, your numbers, your arrow sign, your question mark, they are all in the model, then there is no need to look at the problem, and no need to read the problem to try to solve it. You just look at the model, and then you will be able to work out the steps. For example, if you look at the model, you can see that there are 3 units of suites left. So 3 units is equal to 780. So your 1 unit will be 780 divided by 3, and you get 260. So how many suites altogether at first? So you start counting. So you have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So there is a 14, right? There's a total of 14 units. So let me just double check. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. So there are a total of 14 units at first. So how many suites altogether at first? You take 260 and then you times 14. And you will get a total of 3,640 suites at first. And that's how you use your model to work out the steps. Right, so it's actually quite easy, right? Model drawing is the most common method among all the other methods. The most common method that students will use or teachers would like to use is model drawing. So because it helps to visualize a problem more clearly, and it helps the student to see better and able to also to come up with the steps easier. Okay, let's look at one last example. Now, Daniel and Wilson had an equal number of marbles at first. Daniel sold 1/4 of his marbles, and Wilson sold 5/12 of his marbles. Daniel sold 70 fewer than Wilson. How many marbles did each of them have at first? Alright, now you can see that it looks quite complicated, right? And if you start solving, start thinking how to solve or what to do, it's going to be quite challenging, right? It will take a while for you to work out the steps in your mind. But let's not do that. Okay, let's try to draw out the problem and then see what we can do. Now, Danny and Wilson had an equal number. So how do you draw a model with equal number? 2 equal rectangles. Okay, there is your equal number already. And when there's an equal number, there is a dotted line that I would like to use to show equal concept. Okay, so every time there's something equal, I would like to use dotted line to show that when you draw the rectangles, they are until the dotted line and they are equal. Okay, Daniel sold 1/4 of his marbles, so which means that Daniel has 4 and he sold 1 box. So let's put down sold, and then this will be the left, right, the leftover, right? He will have 3 boxes left. Wilson sold 5/12 of his marbles, so you cut Wilson's rectangle into 12 boxes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And Wilson sold 5 boxes. So you label sold. And of course, Wilson will have 7 boxes left. Okay, Daniel sold 70 fewer than Wilson. Well, if you're not sure how to put the number inside the model, you jump. You don't have to force yourself to put anything in the model if you don't know where to put or how to draw. Okay, if you don't know how to draw any sentence, you jump to the next sentence. If there's a number that you don't know where to put in the model, then you don't have to put, you jump. Okay, that's what you do for model drawing. But later on, do remember to come back, right? Come back and draw out any sentence that you couldn't draw, right? By adding on to your model, right? You need to come back and add on to the model if there's any numbers that you didn't put inside, right? So that is very important, because whatever you don't draw, there is a tendency to forget about what you didn't do, and then you get stuck already. So you must always come back. Whatever you can't draw, whatever you can't put inside, you need to take note of that number, take note of whatever that you couldn't add on to your model, and then come back later to try to make connections. So how many marbles did each of them have at first? So your question mark will be here, and you can see that if I want to put the question mark for Wilson rectangle, it's very cluttered. So I will draw 2 dotted lines to make my model tidier, alright, to make my model looks more presentable and not so messy. So that's our question mark for each person. Okay, so model is done. Then what do we do? Then we look at the model and can we work out, or can we make the model to have all equal number of boxes? Why? Because they both started with the same number, right? Same number of marbles. So I can make both rectangles to have equal number of boxes. How do I do that? Well, there are 12 boxes for Wilson, and there are 4 boxes for Danny. So I will just put 3 units, 3 units, 3 units, and so on. And then of course Wilson will be 1 unit each, right? So every box for Wilson is 1 unit. Okay, now I can compare. I can see how many units Wilson has sold, which is 5 units, right? Wilson has sold 5 units, and Daniel has sold 3 units. Okay, then I can see that there's the number that I couldn't put inside, which is 70 fewer. So how to relate to the model? You compare Daniel and Wilson. So Daniel has sold how many units fewer? 5 units minus 3 units. Daniel has sold 2 units fewer. So 2 units fewer is also equal to 70 fewer. So your 1 unit will be 70 divided by 2, that will be 35. So how many marbles did each of them have at first? Which is 12 units. Everybody has 12 units at first. So you take 12 times 35, and your answer will be 420. So each person will have 420 at first. Okay? Yeah. So you can see they're not hard, right? It's not hard to actually solve a hard problem, or if you have the method, you know how to draw the model, it's not hard. Okay, so we come to the end of our model drawing lesson. So we hope that at the end of the lesson, you will be convinced that you need to use model drawing, especially if you are not good in your session C, then you need to try to draw out the problem. Okay, so we come to the end of our lesson now. So the next lesson, we will continue with some more model drawing. So stay tuned for the next lesson.